Michelle.
Hi.
Let's talk about how I did, what I can do to improve and.
Well, what did you like or not like? Both.
One of the hardest things for me is that I usually learn students' names really quickly, and I think it's a dynamic that I'm experiencing because I'm not the main teacher, but I do not know these kids' names, and so I see a face, and then I struggle to think of their name, and I don't know why that's so meaningful to me, but I feel a little detached from them. But I think overall they're very respectful. They're more respectful than students I'm used to teaching, maybe because I've subbed in alternative so long and subbing's different. But I find them very respectful. So, I mean, I think they're pretty responsive and willing. And I think they're pretty forgiving with my, you know, like when it gets awkward, when I had that worksheet and it had like I thought I had it so well thought out, and then they're like, hey, wait a second, what do you mean, is this student? I know. So, and I like that doesn't really fluster me, like I'm like, okay, then let's just, and I'm okay to say, okay, this is a hole in the lesson, let's look at this, let's fix this, and thanks for figuring that out, and I definitely enjoy, you know, interacting with them.
They really like you, yeah. One thing that we can change then to make you feel more comfortable about learning names is how about you take roll every day?
Okay.
Because their pictures show up on the roll. That's how I learned their names the best. So maybe that will help you because you look at the name and you see the picture.
Right.
So that might make things easier. If that's something that you want to do.
I can do that.
Probably might be easy to do that.
It's not perfect because you know, they say here, but then I'm like, which kid was that? And I look, but it's, let's try that.
So we can make it more quiet when we take roll. So we could just come in tomorrow and be like, hey, everybody, now really, please don't talk because Ms. Moore is trying to learn your names. She wants to see your face when you say hi, or that you're here. And they'll stay quiet.
Yeah.
They are really respectful, but they were not like that all the time.
Third period, but first period, we're just talking about first. And I think I tend to be a little bit more, like I'll put up with it more, but in a way it's not good because then it's harder to control where you're just like, you just cut it off at the knees. And I notice that they really, you know, I sit back here sometimes and you know, they'll talk crap about the teacher. They would do it, and they don't. They respect you, I can tell.
Well, I spend a lot of time building relationships with them, but one thing that, you know, I'm super strict on is you do not talk when I'm talking. I don't care what excuse you have. Like, never, because I won't disrespect you like that. You don't disrespect me like that. I have a job to do. I need to give you directions. You know, we don't disrespect anybody in the classroom by talking while anybody else is talking. And I think now you're seeing how much I enforce that. They know that it is the biggest thing that grates on my nerves. So they are well trained. Whereas if you go to another classroom, the same group of kids, just different instructing styles, different teaching styles, like some teachers are okay with it and it doesn't distract them. I am not that person. So they know, so I've set the standard with them from the first day of school when it comes to that. But you're right, if it's something that bothers you, it is then better to be more strict at the beginning because it's really hard to do vice versa, like you just said, when you're like trying to you know, bring them in a little bit and because I noticed even today, so they're used to me, so they know that, you know, I'm gonna like stop and look at them like, what'd you just say? Like, how dare you talk? Like, I'll make a big fuss about it, right? Like, how dare you talk when I'm talking? And be really dramatic and cause a scene. If they're just getting used to their different instructors. So I saw that they were a little bit more comfortable with talking during your instructions, but you're not as loud as me too. So that's just different. You know what I mean? So every I think it's interesting, like every teacher has their own style. So you just have to find how you want to manage that works for you.
Yeah. I think it's just a really good point though for when you're giving instructions, because I have gotten myself into the trap of giving an instruction, like I'll ask for quiet, and even though it's not really 100% there, I'll just go ahead. Well then, you know, like half the people don't get the instruction, and then you're back to square one with those people. Like, because one young lady in this back table said, now, what about the blah, blah, blah? I said, okay, twice. I said it twice in front of the room. And she just looked at me with big eyes, and then, you know, I told her, but I said, this table is too chatty.
Well, yeah, see, so that gets annoying as an instructor when you're trying to help people, but you get asked the same questions 50 times because they weren't listening to begin with. And it's a waste of your time, and if they're not going to listen, then in my book, they don't deserve to hear the instructions again. They need to work to figure it out. So that's kind of what I do. Because I'm so strict about being quiet when instructions roll around, if they tuned out and they didn't pay attention, then I have every power and right to say, oh, that sucks. Like, you got to figure it out now, don't you? So, and I won't say it in a mean way, but I don't even waste time, because I'm like, you're here to be here and to be present, and, you know, you need to self-manage and be responsible. So that's why I expect silence when I'm giving instructions. Yeah. So you just have to figure out however you want to do that. Another good tip is sometimes you could get them to self-manage as a group. When you just stand up there and say, excuse me, a couple times, a couple of people will notice that you're waiting for them to stop talking. So then they'll start like yelling, hey, you, shut up, stop talking. Like, can't you see Miss Moore wants to talk? I like it when that happens too, because I'm like, okay, you're accountable for yourselves as a class. And then it takes the heat off of you. Just stand there and like stare around, look at them. Cool, like I'm not gonna waste my time speaking while you're speaking, so I'll just wait for you. You'll have less time to do your assignments. Fine with me. I could stand here all day. So that's another option. Okay. What else?
It was, you know, I've got to work on the technology piece, because I get confused about that still. And if you weren't here, it would be awkward. I mean, there were already some dead spaces, which, you know, isn't the end of the world, but you totally saved me by like, okay, this is what you want to do, boom, boom, you know, and it's fine, it's appropriate. It's only my second time doing it here.
Especially when you're dealing with multiple screens like that. It just takes time to get used to the technology, and then any school you work at is going to have different tech anyway. So it's something you're going to be everybody's going to be battling with our whole teaching careers, and then new technology comes up all the time. So you'll just get the hang of it, and that's it. Don't worry too much about it. The more you practice, the faster it is. So you'll be able to do like 10 things at once soon and not even blink. But speaking on that, one thing I always kind of have in the back of my head, at least thought about, whether I wrote it down in the lesson plan doesn't really, you know, it's not really feasible all the time, is factoring in any tech failures. So if I have something where they have to use Chromebooks, there have been times where our wireless completely went out, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, this is going to be a problem.
I didn't really think about that.
Yeah, or my document, like any type of links or documents that I need, like that, you know, a website may be down, or, so I always kind of in the back of my head when I'm designing lessons go, okay, like in case this fails, well, you know, we could do this on paper, or we could go to the library, or we could do this, or I could, you know, have them whip out their cell phones. We shouldn't do that anymore, but so just, I would just keep that in mind, because technology often fails.
Right. Yeah, at this point I don't really have, like, even just to have a completely different assignment as a backup, but I really don't have that for either one of these classes right now.
It's always something good to have as a teacher anyway, like the sub-plans for administrators. I usually have 2 days worth of emergency sub-plans. Why? Because if I have an emergency, like hell I want to deal with even reaching out to the school. Life happens, and I do it to protect myself. So same concept if, like, for whatever reason a lesson totally fails, you know, and I need to switch gears, I always kind of have like something in mind. And I'll write down in my plan book, like on the margins, like a few ideas or backup lessons or things that would make sense within the unit that I could switch to, just so I could feel more comfortable with, okay, if everything gets screwed up here, you know, what's the game plan B?
Right. Well, and here it's, yeah, you've almost got to have like some kind of worksheet or something, or because we don't have any textbooks or anything, you know, we don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But you did well today when you see, they're very inquisitive, right? So they're going to ask you questions that you didn't even think of yet, like, well, Ms. Moore, you want us to look up 3? Well, how come there aren't 3 sections on this worksheet?
Right.
And it's like, okay, you little smartasses.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
2 pieces of advice. Be honest, but never look like you're weak and like, oh my God, yeah, I totally screwed up. Like, just be like, oh yeah, I screwed up. All right, so now take out 2 blank pieces of paper and add the other schools on those 2 sheets, or create the margins down the center. So fix your worksheets. Do it like this right now. Every single person fix their worksheets. You know what I mean? Because they're going to try to weasel their way out. Like, they're like, oh, so we should just research one. No. No. Nice try. But all that was missing were 2 lines. We can fix that. So, yeah, never look like you made a mistake. Just be like, oh, whoops. Okay. This is what we're going to do now. Did that on purpose.
You fell into my trap.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay.
So that went well. One thing that I remember learning about them is I believe no matter what they're doing, even if you are not going to collect and grade the assignment, have them do something, because a lot of them take advantage. So having them, so some of them do really great when they have to watch video and not take notes, and then some of them just totally don't give up. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Because they're not accountable for anything, so they're like, all right, cool. I don't have to watch this if I don't have to write notes. So I always say, take out a sheet of paper. You're gonna take notes on this. Turn it in at the end of class. You can use it as an exit ticket too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna get a lot of disengaged students. So they always have to have a reason for doing things, which drives me nuts because they're not like us.
Right.
But so I would always have them be accountable for whatever they're expected to be watching or listening to somehow.
Okay.
Whether it's taking notes or coming up with 3 questions they have, clarification questions they have about the video or whatever lecture, or you know, at the end be like, okay, write down 2 brand new things that you learned, or whatever it is.
Right.
Just to give them an assignment during that time. And then you can give them participation points for that or whatever.
Yeah, because I asked about the middle video. Like, I didn't stop after that one and say, you know, what did you get from that or whatever. I just went on to the next one, and then I tried to go back to the middle one and said, let's talk about that. And it was just, that totally fell flat. So if I would have said, when we watch the middle video, I want you to write down, you know, 2 or 3 bullet points that you get from that, and then we're going to talk about it. That way they have the expectation, and then when I ask, maybe I would get more participation.
Yeah, what helps me too, and with every lesson I plan, is I write myself guiding questions to start any type of discussion with them. Because a lot of the times, the conversations will turn out pretty dead if you're like, okay, so what do you guys think? And they're like, like whatever. But if you come up with very specific questions about the content in the video or the lecture, then you can get conversation going. Okay, raise your hand. Now, who remembers how many grams of sugar is the maximum daily intake in a day according to this video? Someone's going to yell out 20, you know what I mean? Instead of, so what did you learn? Yeah, the conversation might go, but in order to get it started, I think the guiding questions are good and it holds them, again, accountable for for the content. So that always helps me. And it's not hard as a teacher to do either, because all you really got to do is when you're viewing a video and reviewing it before you're showing it to a class. I'm like, oh, okay, there's a question, and write it down. There's a question, write it down. And so it's really helpful, I think. And then you can take those questions and put them in your exams.
Yeah.
And be sneaky about it. And tell them, like, please pay attention to this video because some of the content is going to be in your exam on Friday. And, then they can't blame you on Friday.
I want to figure out a way, because I was thinking of, like journal checking. Because I've done that in other schools and it's worked really well to get kids to take notes, but we don't have that established in this class. So, I mean, they seem to all have paper, and I'm not used to kids even having supplies. These guys all have supplies. So, I don't know.
So we could do the ghetto journals, like you said. The only dangerous part I would say is if you journal check and don't collect the papers and they're not actually in a journal, they might get angry because they might go, well, then why are we taking these notes? Like, what are these notes for? And I haven't found a good way to combat that. If you do, let me know, because I'm still doing
what
it.
Sanjeev did was he had them all, use their little makeshift journals, and then he would collect them at the end of every period, like hand them out every day and collect them every day. So I don't know if we want to fuss with that, but it'd be a way to check. Although I think they'd have to look over and.
Yeah, you don't have to do it every day. In the journals, so the journals that I do in health, I actually grade them as part of their final points, like percentage of overall grade, at the very end of the course. So they know the entire time that journal needs to be up to date. But I always like to hold them double and triple accountable for everything they do. Okay. I'm not sneaky about it, right? So I tell them, your journal entries are important. You will be tested on these journal entries. You will need this journal entry today for your assignment tomorrow. Because this is, we're engaging previous knowledge, and tomorrow you're going to be working with that, right? So it counts for tomorrow. Then that same note page would count for content in the test on Friday. And then they're going to get points for that page of notes in the final journal check at the end of the grading period. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's very clear to them what they're doing the notes for.
Right, and it should totally motivate them to do that. And it's like I've told students before, like don't not do this. These are giveaway points. This is easy. And then you have notes so that you can look them over for when we have a test.
So it's just a really good idea to do that. Okay. So you can, set your own standards. So if you want to, collect them once a week, or once every 2 weeks, or every other day, or every day, or randomly, like you could do a random note check. All right, take out your journals. Random participation points today.
So what do you think would work best for this class? Do you like the idea of the 5 pieces of paper stapled together, or whatever it is? Or like how would I'm trying to just figure the mechanics of.
Well, you can ask them to supply their own notebooks. A lot of them are good at that. I have some. They're old. They're used, but I've been recycling them anyway.
So then they would just on this day just leave your journals here. I'm going to check them. I'll give them back to you next class period. Okay.
That's how I've done it.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's fine, because it seems like these guys have their supplies and somewhat of a system for themselves at this point. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
You also have the ability to log into Gradebook from a Chromebook, or from an iPad. And a Chromebook. So I haven't done this yet, but I will. You can also walk around the room with an iPad. I have the iPad from the school.
And then just go,
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's.
Let me
that
see
would
your
be-
notes for today, participation
That's the way
plans.
I've done it in the
Yeah,
past, is
it's
I've either
easy.
walked around or I've had kids come up to me
Mhm.
one at a time, let me see your stuff.
Mhm.
Mine was a math class, and so I would have them, I would look at their journals and then I would look at their work and I'd say, tell me how you got that problem. Because most of the time, or half the time, they wouldn't have, show me the work thing. And sometimes they couldn't because they copied off the guy next to them, so. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So, you wrote up something about you beefed up the whole presentation idea. So do you wanna
Yeah,
share
so
that with me?
what I added is the expectation that they produce a 7 to 9 page digital presentation using Google Slides,
Okay,
outlining all of the criteria listed on the worksheet that you designed,
okay,
and some sort of, and I think that was also detailed in the worksheet, some sort of overall summary or commentary on the college or university that they were assigned, on its history, or what the college or university is most known for or famous for, etc.
okay. And so are you gonna spring that on tomorrow? And
I would
then,
love to.
and then when the students are presenting, then the worksheets, which, like if I make more of those worksheets, the other students could make notes on those. Does that sound okay to you?
It might be confusing for them.
You think it would
To
just be
use the
better to
same-
just listen, or?
No, I think you're right. I think they should take notes. I would just say let that be in their
In their
journals.
journal?
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
If you use the same worksheet, it just might be confusing for them
okay,
because they're using those worksheets now to do their own research.
all right.
Um,
No, easier for us, we don't have to make 100 copies, 'cause- and the way I'm gonna do it, so I have 2 groups for each of the types of universities, so I guess that doesn't really matter, it doesn't matter. Some of them will just hear
they'll
twice.
have different information.
Yeah.
Probably, so
It'll be fine, I just didn't want I just was fearful of the groups being too good, and they did seem to do pretty well with, everyone I saw was working.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
there
yeah.
was I saw some collaboration, because you know how sometimes you'll give them those projects and then you have parallel processing where they're not even talking to one another? Like, why are you guys both doing, I'm like,
Yeah, they're silent. Okay,
Yeah.
you do half the presentation, and I'll do the other half, and it's like, no. That was, you could also see that when they give their presentations.
so it'll be one presentation for each group, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm
cool.
thinking. Okay, I need to rewrite that because it's so confusing to me since it shifted down. They didn't have a lot of time to work on their worksheets today, so I'm guessing that, wait, today's Tuesday. Probably Wednesday, okay, tomorrow, mostly Thursday, maybe Thursday we can start presentations. I'll see how tomorrow goes.
Okay.
And then, Thursday and Friday can do presentations.
Okay.
It's good.
Do you have anything else you want to say to me about my teaching before I turn off?
I loved it.
Aww. It was a little kooky, but I thought it was,
I think it turned out beautiful. Really beautiful.